How's it going, everyone? Good. Did we enjoy the morning sessions?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. I'm curious, how many of you all were familiar with Copilot and some of the topics that they were covering this morning, or was this a lot of it new to you? New?
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
A little bit of both, okay. Does anyone in this room have access to a Copilot license right now, an M365 Copilot license? 1, 2, 3. Okay, awesome. How are we using it for? I know you have one in the back too. How have you guys been using it?
Well, I'm one of the folks at DIT that's doing the evaluation. So really trying to evaluate it while we're in session today, because I have lots of questions. But
Awesome.
I think it's going to be great for summarization and then, drafting documents. And so that's why I'm in the PowerPoint, because I have a question about something else trying to do in PowerPoint.
Okay, awesome. Hopefully I can answer it for you. If for some reason I can't, there are a lot of smart people from Microsoft here that can. So no worries. Okay, let me go ahead and start presenting. Since this is new for some of us, I'm going to reiterate a little bit of the stuff that we covered in the morning session just to make sure that we're clear and give people the opportunity to ask any questions, because the word Copilot gets thrown around quite a bit. We're talking about 2 in particular today. One is integrated into PowerPoint. The other is not. It's a lot more simple, and it will be free and accessible to you all here very soon. So let me go ahead and start presenting. Hi, welcome in.
Can you move the mouse?
Yeah. I don't know why that is just popped up. There we go. Okay, awesome. Very cool. Okay. So this session is Copilot and PowerPoint, but before we really get into everything, I'm just going to kind of give you an idea of what you can expect on this call. So we're going to talk about what is a Copilot. I'm going to give you the difference between M365 Copilot, the paid version, versus the free interface that is rolling out to government customers here in the next few weeks. I'll give you a demonstration of how you can utilize Copilot in PowerPoint, whether that be referencing a file or just creating something out of thin air. And then I'll briefly walk through how you can use Copilot chat to plan presentations. Not a ton of functionality there, but it can give you a good head start. And then lastly, I'll leave it open for Q&A, but please, if you're in the virtual chat, throw a question in Q&A, raise your hand. I'm happy to stop and go over whatever at any point. Okay. Don't know why it's not going. Okay. So we've talked a lot about this today, and you're probably going to be tired of hearing Copilot by the end of it. But just to make sure that we're all clear, all on the same page, what is a Copilot? So our definition is an AI-driven partner that is guided by an individual or an organization to help amplify creativity and accelerate results. So long-winded way of just saying it's an assistant. It helps you get your job done faster. It helps you become the editor, not the author. It is not an autopilot. You've heard that a billion times today. It is a Copilot. So it's your personal assistant. Depending on which Copilot you're using, depends on the capabilities that you have access to, but we're going to get into that. So M365 Copilot. This is going to be the paid version. This is the one that leverages your data, so your emails, your meetings, your chats, your files, your policies, your permissions, your security access, all of your applications, so Outlook, PowerPoint, Excel, Teams, and the LLM. And then for Government Community Cloud, we have web service off by default. That is up to top of the organization to determine whether they would like web services to be accessed or not. There's a lot of value in Copilot with or without the web service, but of course, up-to-date information always helps. So it's basically combining the power of all 4 of these things to make sure that it works alongside of you and you can be more creative in Word, more analytical, more expressive, productive, collaborative, all the fun terms. So like Anna said earlier, you're going to see this slide a million times. This is the apps that Copilot is embedded in, the paid version. Now we're rolling out that free version here pretty soon, and that is going to be M365 Copilot Chat. Now, M365 Copilot Chat is going to be a chat AI interface similar to one that you've probably interacted with at some point in your personal life or even professional. And it's going to allow you access to the LLM and the web if you have it turned on. So I can use free Copilot Chat to ask questions related to work. I could upload a document, a work document, and have it create an FAQ based on that document, same with a PowerPoint. And the reason why we created this is we wanted to give an AI experience to everyone, eliminate the barrier to entry, no cost, but guaranteeing that extra layer of security that you're not going to get when you're interacting with these AI models that do not have an enterprise data protection attached to it. The sensitive work data that you might be uploading, things you don't even necessarily realize are sensitive, are now protected because you are logged in with your Entra ID. And it's going to ensure that your work data is not training any of our models. It's not leaving your service boundary. It is safe and secure. On that note, just wanted to kind of show you what enterprise data protection is and where you can read more information about it. This might be of interest to some, might be of interest to none. I think it is #1 priority. Data and security should be your #1 priority. Like we talked about all morning, we have to make sure that we are assessing risk, we are being ethical in how we use AI and responsible. So our EDP policy basically means that your data is your data. It is encrypted both at rest and in transit. We do not use your data for any purpose other than what you instruct. You have access controls. So when I say that, I mean admins have access to control Copilot Chat, which is great. AI and copyright protection. So you're protected against any risks such as harmful content or prompt injections. Data usage, so prompts, responses, data through the graph are not used to train foundational models, like I said, and you can read more about that here. But basically, the point to make is these protections are contractual product terms that are already part of your pre-negotiated, pre-completed state term contract for Microsoft products. So these already exist. Everything that you interact with is already enterprise data protected. These are basically the existing terms within your SharePoint, Teams, OneDrive, and Outlook. That crazy slide again. Who here was in the back for that presentation? Anyone? Okay. So we're gonna see it a little bit more close up, hopefully. But very simple. We're really not gonna worry about the consumer version today because we should not be putting our work data in the consumer version. So have fun using it the way Anna did to start her small business, like we saw earlier. But the middle part, Copilot Chat. So this will be available to everyone. It uses public data and it gives you the ability to upload a few files per day. And then it also has image generation capability. In addition to that, you can interact in real time with your colleagues in something called pages. So if I'm interacting in Copilot Chat, and I'm having a dialogue where perhaps I've created an FAQ based on a meeting that I had, and I want to now translate it to Spanish. And I need my colleague who is fluent in Spanish to make sure that that information is correct. I can now, at my colleague in the chat, open up a page and they are able to interact with me live. I can show you that later after Copilot and PowerPoint. We really probably will not take our full 45 minutes, so we'll have time to play around if we'd like. And then it operates inside of your M365 tenant. So important things to know, ChatGPT 4.0 uses the web, has file upload capability, and has image generation capability, and you can collaborate in it. It does not have access to any of your graph information by nature. So I can't interact in chat and say, hey, please message my boss or help me draft an email to my boss highlighting XYZ. It's not going to know who my boss is. If I have the paid version, it will automatically populate Jen because it knows that's my boss. M365 Copilot, the paid version, only available to licensed users. It's going to use public data if you have the web turned on, LLM, and your graph. So all the things I just described. And it's operable within our M365 desktop and cloud apps. I want to pause there, especially for our friends joining virtually. Do we have any questions about the distinction between the two? Anything that I can help clarify? Okay. Yeah.
I guess I'm not particularly sure what my organization has access to at this point. In the previous session, there was a lot of confusion between who has rights.
Mm-hmm.
So all of us here as like some sort of like government clients for you all, do we all have the same access, or does it just kind of vary by entity?
It varies by entity. So the people who have the ability to assign those licenses to you are going to be in IT. They're going to be administrators. So I believe what's happening right now is, like, for instance, we're evaluating Copilot, testing it out and seeing if that's something that hypothetically would be rolled out to the entire state. So it's still very much in the inception, early days. Likely none of you in here have access to the free version yet. I've only just heard yesterday that it started populating in people's environments. We have no real way of knowing who's getting it first or how that's being organized.
I think for DIT they said mid to late June.
That's, yeah.
So you don't know.
We still don't know. Like I said, yesterday it started showing up for some people. So I would imagine over the next few weeks, it's just going to start lighting up. So I can share a link in a little bit too. So that way you can just start testing to see if it showed up for you yet or not.
Yeah, I was able to open in M365 and just kind of do a basic prompt with it. But does that mean that if I have that sort of access, then I have the full usage throughout all the other Microsoft apps as well?
The best way to tell, one, would be asking your IT admin, do I have access to Copilot? But another way would just be if you go into, when it starts to light up, it's going to be a little M365 chat icon at the bottom of your screen. I'll show you in a second. When you open that up, there will be a work or a web option, similar to what we saw Anna show us earlier. If you have work and web, you have the M365 Copilot paid version. If you don't have those, then you just have the free version. Go ahead.
What about the desktop M365 Copilot app? We have access to that. Does that also mean it's the left-hand version there?
Yes, the best way to tell would be if that toggle exists, because you can open that app up, and if there's no toggle, that means free version access.
Where's the toggle? I'm sorry, I missed that part.
No worries. Actually, I can, like, right there. See that? It says work. I mean, you can't see it. It's extremely small, but it says work or web. So when you open that chat interface, if you see those two, that means you have the full paid license. Any other questions?
That's what
Okay. Okay. So when you're interacting with Copilot, the biggest limitation is you. Where's the rest of this? It's not loading. Oh, my laptop needs to be plugged in. Hello. Sorry. Quick detour, everyone. I apologize. It has been a long day. Where's the plug? Is it right here? Got it. No problem. Should have had this plugged in the whole time. There's these cute little guys, but they're not showing up. That's okay. So we're going to talk a little bit about prompting, because that seems to be the biggest hang up when interacting with AI. Your output is only going to be as good as your input. And I think what we forget is that typically AI is very conversational. It's interacting in the way that I interact with you all. If I asked you to do a task, I'm not just going to say, hey, go do that thing for me really fast. I'm going to say, hi, remember that meeting that we were in last week? Could you go ahead and write a to-do list for that meeting and email it to me? I'm going to be pretty prescriptive if I'm asking for you to do something for me. So the best way to get a response is to break a prompt up into these 4 key ingredients. So what do you want from the prompt? Be very specific. Do I want it outlined in a table with action items and people assigned to the action and due dates? Do I want bullet points? Do I want it in simple terms? Maybe it's a complicated ask and I want the output to be simplified for me to understand. I'm trying to learn something. Next is context. Why do I need it? I am a Copilot specialist and I'm planning a webinar for NCDIT Innovation Day. I want to understand what people's awareness of Copilot is. I want to understand, have they interacted with AI before? Draft me some poll questions that I can put into a webinar. Context. And then expectations. This is how you can kind of level set the tone. Like I said before, simple language, or maybe make it sound exciting, make it sound more professional or appreciative. And then lastly, the source. Where am I creating this webinar description from? I'm going to reference that team meeting where we talked about all the things that we're going to cover during that webinar. And then here's an idea about just, like I said before, making it conversational, making it fluid. You can start with one prompt to kick you off, and then you can keep it rolling. What's great about Copilot, and you probably saw earlier, is it'll often suggest prompts for you. So as you start typing out, it's going to add a little sentence or two that makes it better, adds more context, suggest what else you might also want to know. So for example, you ask for a meeting recap, and then you ask for more information about what I should know about the meeting, or lead with a broader request and then give specific details about the content. Gaining insights, asking for a summary of a file, and then ask relevant questions to give deeper insights. And I really do find that the suggested prompts kind of kickstart that brainstorming process of what information you might want to extract or create. Okay, are we done with slides? All right. I'm going to pause there before I go into the demo. Do we have any other questions? Cool. Are we all straight on free version versus paid version of Copilot? Okay. I'm going to stop sharing this deck. Come on, EDU. Okay, I'm going to start by showing you a file. So this is a fake marketing plan. It just outlines a fake company, Contoso. If you've done any demos with Microsoft, you've probably heard of this fake company before. But it's a very large marketing plan, about 10 pages long, with some graphs and figures and budget, things like that. I need to present this marketing plan in a visual format through PowerPoint. So I am going to open PowerPoint. I'm going to do new. And I'm going to use a brand. I haven't used that one before, but for the sake of not messing things up, I'm going to use this one. So when I want my Copilot presentation, before I even started editing it or adding files or anything, I like to open my branded template first because I want my content to adhere to my company's brand that we have already pre-populated within PowerPoint. And now you can do a couple of things here. I'm going to use create a presentation with file. So I'm going to point out a few things. We have Copilot that pops up here. I'm going to use that one. You can also interact with it on the side when you open this ribbon, and I'll show you how I interact with that one in a little bit. but just so you have an idea of where Copilot shows up when you have a license. So I'm going to do create a presentation with file. Okay, so it already has the backslash. I'm going to click reference file. I'm going to reference that marketing plan. I'm going to click go. And it very quickly created an outline for my presentation with some accompanying slides. And what's wonderful and truly one of my favorite parts about creating PowerPoint presentations is it creates speaker notes. Now, not all speaker notes are as powerful as the next. So being able to iterate on those and making them sound a little more fluid and conversational, adding your own personal flair to it can be done with Copilot or with your brain, but you have that ability to make those edits after the fact. So here is the outline that Copilot came out for me. There's a couple of things we could do in this conception phase. I could move company overview if I wanted. Reorder topic, so I'll drag it down here, or I could drag it down here, but I think it makes sense to have it at the top. Let's say I want to add a new topic, so it didn't cover something that I thought was important. So I'm going to add a topic about, let's see, the company's brand evolution. Talk about Contoso's, oh, I did it again. If you were in my last class, I keep typing on the keyboard down here instead of my laptop on accident. I cannot help it. And then I click go. So then it created a couple sections about the history of Contoso's brand, key milestones in brand development, rebranding efforts, future direction, cool stuff like that. I am now going to accept that. I think that's good. And I'm going to click generate new presentation. While I wait for these slides to load, has anyone that has a Copilot license try to make a PowerPoint using Copilot yet? How did it go for you?
It was a little bit of a struggle at first, but it got better. But like you put in graphics and things like that, because I didn't have a template to go by, so I was just kind of creating it from scratch.
Creating it from scratch is definitely a journey.
Yeah.
I will say it is helpful to have files to reference, similar to what we just talked about with prompting. When you have that source, it's going to just have more to go off of. When you think about the endless knowledge that an LLM has, it makes it so much better when it's consolidated. That's why agents are so cool.
Things like make a slide out of this information. Like I didn't have one big document, but I would just like brain dump everything in my brain and it would.
Yep. Yeah, it's good for a first draft. Okay, so I'm going to keep it, but we're going to keep editing. So this is what it came up with. It kept my Microsoft brand, even though this is Contoso, and these are the slides. And this is where you can see the speaker notes. They didn't have me here. Where are my speaker notes? There we go. So down here, it talks about the purpose of the marketing plan, the roadmaps. Pretty nice template. What I like is that it took those charts that were in that original file and added those visually in here as well. Something else that's pretty cool is there's that cost breakdown. It put it out into a table for us. Those are just numbers originally in the document, but now it's visualized it. Let's say I want to keep playing with it because this is just our first draft. That took away all of the heavy lifting, the organization, the structure. Now we can take a little bit of creative freedom. So let's see, maybe let's suggest, I'm going to do suggest a stock image. Oh, I did it again. Sorry, you guys. Okay, suggest a stock image. Oh, well, before I do that, I want to show you this too. It automatically created a summary. So let's just say we were opening a deck that we didn't just create. It'd be nice to have a summary of that deck, right? Just pre-populated. And then it'll also show me a suggested Q&A. So it's anticipating questions that I might have about the deck already, or maybe questions that other people might have. That's just a little feature at the top. Suggest a stock image for digital, oh, there we go, for digital marketing strategy. That's a typo, doesn't matter. Copilot knows what I'm trying to say. So then I did suggest a stock image. This is what it came back with. If I wanted to be really descriptive, I could say suggest a stock image of white birds flying in the sky with the sun shining down on them, with blue tips on their feathers, and it'll design images like that. For the sake of time, we're not going to do that, but what I would do is I'd say, okay, I don't like that one, but I love this one. So I'm going to insert that right there. Easy peasy. But maybe there's a better design out there than what I did. So I go to design suggestions. That looks nice. Can make those adjustments as well. Let's go back into Copilot. So if I had questions I wanted to ask about the deck, I could say, like, what are Contoso's marketing objectives? It spit it back very quickly. That was impressive. What services does Contoso specialize in? Delivering data-driven analytics services to various industries. So lots of ways to interact with it. But let's just say maybe you need a little help interacting. Let's see, where did those go? I have a prompt buddy agent, and I also have a prompt coach. I'm going to say, help me generate. Yep, thank you. I'm going to beat the horse dead. Help me generate a PowerPoint prompt to make my presentation more engaging. So then it said, I'd be happy to help you create a prompt. And then it says, could you share a bit more information? How do I expect the presentation to be formatted or structured? Any specific elements you want me to include? So it wants to have that conversation with me. It wants me to provide it with more context. And when I do, it will be a little bit more prescriptive and specific as to what I'm asking. But again, for the sake of time, I'm not going to go into that. Any questions about how you manage work with Copilot? You can also do like new slide with Copilot. This over here. Add a slide about whatever you want, reference a file. I could use some of these prompts down here. Add a slide about ideas for fostering a positive work culture, things like that. We also have what's called the prompt gallery. And the prompt gallery allows you to actually filter down into, I'm trying to figure out where the heck it went in my Copilot interface. The UI changes all the time. There we go. But when you go to the prompt gallery, you actually have the ability to drop down which application that you're interacting with, and it'll give you prompt suggestions. So I'm going to actually take us there and show you what that looks like. And everyone can access this website. So I'm going to go to Copilot in PowerPoint. And these are examples of some prompts that I can use. Add speaker notes to all slides. adjust speaker notes, add an agenda. I can find specific information. Maybe I'm looking for a specific figure for social media marketing budget, things like that. All right, I'm going to show you how to make a presentation from scratch without referencing a file. So I'm going to say, create a presentation about team icebreaker activities. For each one, explain how it works and how long it takes. Oh, it's gonna make me do that again. I think I have that one saved. Okay, here we go. So it gave me a couple ideas. Human Bingo, the M&M game, the Marshmallow Challenge. I'm sure we've all seen that one before. But at the beginning, I want to make sure I add a slide about, like we saw earlier, fostering a positive work culture. So it's going to add that slide. And then I would generate. Now this could be about anything, but again, the context is going to make it what it is more powerful and more valuable. Now, let's say I only have free Copilot. So I can't interact in PowerPoint. I can't create presentations from scratch. But what I can do is help plan for them and get some guidance on how to structure and organize them, which is still impactful. So I'm going to pull up my Copilot chat window. And I am going to help me outline a PowerPoint presentation about that same marketing plan that we referenced earlier. And here is a structured outline. So it gave me the slides with the important key points that I could cover. And it even included some of those figures from that document. So you still aren't starting from scratch. You can still help with that ideation process and that beginning stages brainstorming. Something else you could do would be interacting with the PowerPoint. So maybe I want to, yeah, go ahead.
Well, just a time saver potentially is you can copy and paste that into outline view.
Sure, there you go. Life hack, I like that. Let's say I wanted to create, by the way, when you drop down here, you get prompt suggestions, which is pretty cool. Down here is the prompt gallery. I'm going to open that because I have this prompt saved as my own prompt. Something pretty cool that you can do. Oh, no, I didn't save this one, but you have the ability to save prompts. Help me make this presentation look or just more professional. And I can upload this Contoso or this e-bike Thunderbolt presentation. Now it's uploading. Last I checked, I think the max file uploads for the free Copilot chat is 5 files a day. It might be more now. Like I said, Microsoft moves at the speed of light. Things are constantly updating and changing, so it's important to stay on top of FAQs. So it took that presentation and it created content refinement suggestions. It's saying to standardize metrics, so speed and range values, different slide titles, tone and style, design enhancements, things like that. So really not a ton. Yes, go ahead.
When you're uploading a file from M365, does it need to come from OneDrive, only from OneDrive?
It doesn't need to only come from OneDrive. Best practice is OneDrive. So like for instance, if you have M365 Copilot, your team's meetings and the people, those aren't OneDrive, so those are accessible. But best practice is to have all of your files saved to OneDrive and SharePoint. And that is something Ash has asked me to reiterate to everyone too. OneDrive is what you should be saving your information to. Okay, I am gonna stop sharing. If you want to engage with Copilot and PowerPoint, the paid license really is the move. Of course, there's ways to brainstorm and get feedback and image generate within the free version, but true outline and conception to final product is gonna be through that paid version. Do we have any questions? Yes, go ahead.
I have a question. I sat in the Excel class prior to this, and they showed how you can take the data and do the analytics and the graphics. Is there a way to just pull that Excel file into PowerPoint and have Copilot kind of do the analytics on it, so you'll have that presentation and not have to do it twice?
I can't remember if Copilot and PowerPoint can read CSV files. I would have to double check on that. But it's definitely possible. I know something I've done in the past is in Excel, I use data to create visual graphs. So some sort of pie chart, and I would copy and paste that image into PowerPoint. That's a good question. I need to ask that.
By design, it's not, you know, the Copilot in PowerPoint is really more design framework of creating PowerPoint. So while it may have some capabilities of kind of reading the slides and kind of generating summaries from it, its application or pulling data is not where the design work is. Each Copilot within each M365 app has certain functionality and features unique to technology. We even have another Copilot that we're building right now that's being released called Copilot for Finance, and has very unique features and specifically integrates with the Copilot Excel, as well as has third-party integrations into a lot of the typical CRM or ERP platforms like Salesforce or whatever you may use that enhances the Copilot experience and integrating those third-party applications.
Yes, go ahead.
This morning, the lady that was talking about accessibility had this feature for the rehearsing piece. I forgot what it was called exactly. Where you got a PowerPoint and you can practice your presentation and it will score you or rate you or provide feedback. What was that feature? And is that something? Is that an icon in there? Is it a plugin, an additional plugin?
I had to step out towards the end of that, so I haven't used that feature myself before. So I'm not exactly sure where that is. Let's see. I would probably have to ask Lori, but all the recordings will be sent out. So
It's called Speaker Coach. Yeah.
Oh, that's what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, so Speaker Coach, we have a suite of products called our learning tools, and that's one of the learning tools. It's built into PowerPoint where you can speak to, well, you can essentially record yourself in the PowerPoint experience and give you lots of feedback, like your tone, your pace, grammatical feedback, things of that nature.
And that's another set of plugins.
Oh, well, that's actually already included.
It already.
The only caveat is because
I'm trying to share.
It's not in my,
So when I just went to the top and I searched speaker coach,
yeah.
and then under actions it popped up and it said start rehearsing. I'm trying to escape the screen and now I can't. So I'm talking now. Focus on people, highlighting the expertise and credentials of the Contoso team. And already it's telling me try not to use too many fillers. So
So I don't see it in my version. I see accessibility.
I'm trying to get
check
out of here.
accessibility, That when I search for a speech coach, just look for find or replace.
okay, so it looks like it's in preview. Oh wait, no, that just says my rehearsal report preview. May I see?
Yeah. And I have another question too. So I took a Word document, legislative report, and said, while you were doing that, and said create a PowerPoint slide, which is what you're looking at. And it is basically just, they gave me 60 slides with content on every page. And so then I went in and asked it for it to summarize. And it's not really doing that, so.
It's not summarizing the slides for you?
No.
Interesting. So when you say not doing that, what?
It's basically just grabbing major like the organizational chart or not key concepts. I'm just trying to understand how do I coach it or prompt it better.
I see.
Do you know?
Yes, so maybe what we can, a prompt we can try is extract the key concepts from this presentation, and if you know at least like one or two, including enterprise justice, Odyssey, something like that.
Okay.
That's on the inside. Now I'm trying to find it.
You may say speaker coach, or may also say presenter coach.
Let me try presenter.
And then also just maybe it turned off as a feature.
That's what I wanted.
Yeah, I think it might be, because when I type in, hold on. Yeah, when I type in speaker coach, it pops up. And I'll go ahead and show you all what that looks like really fast.
Yep.
Are you using the desktop tool?
I guess so, yeah.
She is,
Would that be
but so am I.
Yeah.
So this is what it looks like. This is my report, despite the ums. Good job rehearsing. Keep up the hard work. So I did 16 seconds. I rehearsed one slide. I had 38 words a minute. So good pace. And then repetitive language, nice. I used inclusive language. Avoided reading the slide text aloud. I've done that a few times. And then let's say I want to rehearse again, just so you can see what this looks like. Okay, so I'm going to start rehearsing. So we're going to talk about the overall budget summary, and the total project budget is set at $200,000, which I can't read this, which covers all planned expenses. Okay. I'm going to use the word a few times. So I think financial management, yeah, and that's where it said too many fillers. So I'm going to pause the session, and I'm going to try to exit. This was the hard part last time. Here we go, in show. And now it's loading my report again. So that's what it looks like. And I know I didn't answer your question exactly of how I got there. I simply just searched speaker coach at the top and it popped up for me. Like this. And then it was rehearse with coach preview. So I don't know if it's available to everyone yet because it still says preview. That might be why.
Okay.
Might be a coming soon. Yeah, that's true. That's a good follow-up. Okay, there was a few questions in the chat as well. What was the comment he just made? Well, dang it, I don't know when that was, so I'm so sorry. I apologize. And then there used to be a great design function for single slides on PowerPoint. For example, I could put in 3 photos on the slide, and it would show me different. Which mouse am I using? design. Will Copilot do this as well? Yeah, I mean, if I understand your question correctly, I mean, here's a picture on a slide. Let me move this out of the way. It is hard demoing on just a single laptop. I'm very much so used to having a couple screens. These aren't connected to my laptop, by the way. Just design suggestions. That would be what I would do. I'm not answering your question, so I apologize if I'm not, but that would be what my inkling would be. If I had a couple images on a page, I would do something like this for suggestions on how else to have them organized. Another thing I wanted to bring up, when you are making those decks, like for instance, yours popped out 40 or 50 slides, I think sometimes consolidating decks helps a little bit too with summarization capabilities, because I feel like it's already extracting key information when you're consolidating in that way. So just a thought.
Yeah, I'm trying it again, just give it a certain number of slides.
Yep.
20 slides.
That's a great example.
Another thing about the design ideas that's really cool is sometimes when it's reorganizing, it'll take like table information and make it smart art of it.
Yes. Yep.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I've done this demo with the Comtoso marketing plan a few times before, and that image of the budget being in a table, I've seen it broken down in several different visual demonstrations that Copilot just took creative freedom on. Like, here's a good example.